here too, virtually every detail of Orwell's essay was questioned by his classmates. So the point I'm trying to get to is that nonfiction from its very inception has been intermarried, you might say, with fiction. These are just 4 or 5 prominent examples, but a lot of the impulse of my writing the book had to do with trying to, I was just terribly frustrated by how contemporary conversation goes when writers like Misha de Fonseca or Margaret Seltzer or James Fry or Charles Pellegrino, or there's a kind of a scandal du jour, or certainly a scandal of the month, in which a work of nonfiction gets wrongly framed and wrongly judged by the standards of journalism. A couple other prefaces I wanted to mention, or sort of backgrounds to the book. My sort of conversion there. Would you like to come and sit?
I'm great.
Did you find back there? My sort of conversion narrative is that I began as a novelist. That my big, staggering rebellion against my journalist parents was to become a fiction writer rather than a nonfiction writer. And I was terribly invested for many years and quite actively involved in writing 3 novels. I wrote a book called Heroes, published in '84, a novel called Dead Languages, came out in '89, a novel in stories called Handbook for Drowning, and I was working on what I thought was my 4th novel, a book called Remote, and I just could not get the novelistic stuff to happen. I was terribly bored by all of the novelistic machinery. That book became a book called Remote, Reflections on Life in the Shadow of Celebrity. It became a series of 52 interlinked meditations on my and our love-hate relationship to mass culture. And I'm proud of that book. I really like that book a lot. And it was a real breaking point in my writing life, my sort of Alice down the rabbit hole moment, in which I realized I'm better at getting at the stuff through essay, through collage, through meditation, than I am through staging it as fiction. That for me, a lot of my strengths play to contemplation and consciousness rather than staging it as drama. That so many of the novelistic gestures, creating a scene, creating dialogue, creating a setting, giving backstory, giving characters jobs, creating a plot, all these things are reportedly important to novels. And I just found myself feeling, they seemed to hamstring me, they seemed obligatory, they seemed dutiful. They weren't taking me deeper into the subject matter. I wanted to go overtly and deeply into the subject matter. And all that fictional stuff in my hands, and I guess the book ends up arguing in a lot of people's hands, doesn't take you deeper into the subject. Instead, it's a kind of, I would argue, a kind of sop to a kind of, it's a kind of coat hanger given to the reader, or a handrail given to the reader to make sure that he or she gets through the book. And I guess I just, maybe I lack the story DNA, or I don't know what it is. I'm terribly drawn toward the essayistic gesture. It seems to be infinitely more exciting and more thrilling than storytelling per se. And the book that really taught me that was writing Remote. I guess I don't know how many of you are aspiring writers or you would like to write, but I think the one big thing I learned from that was definitely one of the more interesting moments of my writing life was not feeling wedded to the form that you know, that kind of sports cliche, it goes like dance with who brung you or something like that. I don't know what that has to do with anything. This idea that, which is, I think, is sort of a sweet idea, that if you come with a certain boy or girl to a dance, that you dance with that person. That's kind of a sensible idea. Don't start dancing with someone else. But I think in terms of writing, like the thing that brought me there was the novel form. I thought I was writing a novel, but I'm proud of the fact that I stayed alert to the form the book wanted to become. And in so doing, I found a great renewal of my artistic purpose.